January 2026 quietly changed how RV ownership works in the United States, and many owners are only now seeing the financial consequences. Weight enforcement became stricter, registration fees were recalculated, financing structures shifted, repair requirements expanded, and warranty responsibility moved further away from dealers. None of these changes appear on the sticker price when you buy. They surface later through fines, higher renewals, denied warranty claims, or unexpected repair bills. If you own an RV or plan to buy in 2026, understanding these changes is no longer optional. Let's start with the first rule already catching owners off guard. Active RV weight enforcement. Most people never expect a scale to decide whether their trip continues or ends. January 2026 changed that assumption quietly. Across multiple states, enforcement officers were instructed to stop overlooking RV weight limits. The rule itself was not new. The enforcement finally was. Here is the part that matters to your wallet. A typical 34-foot travel trailer leaves the factory already close to its maximum rating. Factory sheets often show dry weights around 9,800 pounds. That number looks safe until real life gets involved. Add fresh water, propane, batteries, food, tools, chairs, hoses, and personal gear. Now the same RV is suddenly 1,200 to 1,500 pounds heavier. That puts many rigs over their certified axle ratings before the first campsite. Until recently, this was ignored. Not anymore. Starting January 2026, roadside inspections became routine instead of rare. Inspection bulletins issued late last year told officers to document weights, not estimate them. Scales replaced guesswork. Fail the check, and the consequences start immediately. Fines arrive first. Registration renewals get flagged next. Some owners are ordered to correct the issue before moving again. Correction is not cheap. To regain compliance, many are forced into heavier rated tires, reinforced suspensions, or axle replacements. Real invoices show totals between $3,500 and $7,000. That money was never part of the buying plan. It appears only after enforcement. Here is the hidden twist. Some RVs rolled off dealer lots already overweight from factory-installed options. Extra batteries, upgraded furniture, residential refrigerators, and larger tanks all count. Once enforcement started, the responsibility did not land on manufacturers. It landed on whoever registered the RV. That shift explains why sudden price cuts appeared in early 2026. Dealers knew certain units would trigger weight problems once inspected. Moving them quickly reduced future disputes. Discounts were cheaper than buybacks. For owners, the lesson is simple. Before signing anything, verify real-world loaded weight, not brochure numbers. Ask for scale tickets or weigh it yourself. Budget compliance upgrades before they become mandatory. This rule alone changed the ownership math. It did not make travel impossible. It made ignoring limits expensive. The road did not change. The scale did. Safety also enters the equation. Overloaded axles run hotter, tires fail sooner, and braking distances increase. Inspection reports from highway agencies show a direct link between excess weight and roadside incidents. That data pushed states to stop looking the other way. When enforcement tightened, resale values reacted. Buyers became wary of rigs with narrow weight margins. Listings started lingering longer online. That delay costs sellers money every month. Some responded by cutting prices preemptively. Others quietly sent units to auction. Neither outcome helps the original owner. There is also a timing angle worth knowing. Enforcement tends to spike after seasonal slowdowns. January inspections are stricter than summer checks. By spring, some pressure eases. Understanding that cycle gives leverage. Verify weight during the strict window, not the relaxed one. Documentation matters. Keep scale slips with maintenance records. They protect value later. One overlooked detail remains. Towing vehicles are affected too. Overweight trailers often push trucks beyond rated payload. That creates insurance and liability problems after accidents. Weight tickets can become evidence. Staying compliant protects more than registration. It protects you. That is why enforcement changed behavior so fast. Money, safety, and paperwork collided at once. This rule exposed weak margins everywhere. Ignore it and costs stack quietly. Respect it and surprises shrink. That difference decides whether ownership feels controlled or constantly reactive. Preparation turns enforcement from threat into manageable math. Weight awareness is the new baseline today. Forward. What follows next shows how paperwork costs can hurt. Even longer than a fine. Registration fees recalculated by size and value. The bill arrives quietly, usually in an envelope that looks routine. January 2026 turned that envelope into a shock for many R-Vee owners. Nothing about the rig changed. The roads stayed the same. What changed was how states decided to calculate what you owe, just to keep rolling legally. For years, registration felt predictable. You paid a flat amount or a simple age-based fee. Bigger or smaller rarely mattered. That system ended without much noise. Several states updated their fee tables at the start of the year, recalculating registration based on physical size, axle count, and declared value. The change was buried in administrative updates, not press releases. Here is how the math shifted. Length now matters. Axles now matter. Value now matters. A R-Vee that once renewed for $200 can now cost $400, $500, or more every single year. Not once, not temporarily. Every renewal forward. Consider a common scenario. A 36-foot fifth wheel with 3 axles registered in late 2024, paid roughly $220 annually. Under the new schedule, that same unit renews closer to $580. Multiply that by 5 years, and the difference alone clears $1,800. No upgrades, no tickets, just paperwork. Why did states do this? The explanation sounds reasonable on paper. Heavier and longer vehicles are said to place more stress on infrastructure. Fee formulas were adjusted to reflect road usage. Officials call it fairness. Owners experience it as silent inflation tied directly to ownership size. Proof surfaced quickly. Updated Department of Motor Vehicles tables, published in December 2025, show new categories labeled by length brackets and axle thresholds. The longer the rig, the higher the base rate. Add declared value, and the number climbs again. High purchase prices now echo long after the sale. That ripple effect matters more than most realize. Registration cost is one of the few ownership expenses that never depreciates. Fuel fluctuates. Repairs vary. Registration only moves one direction, up. The timing was not accidental. States face budget pressure. Registration adjustments are easier than raising general taxes. R-Vees became an easy target because they are visible, trackable, and politically quiet. Few people notice until their renewal is due. Here is where it hits resale. Buyers now factor annual fees into decisions. Listings for longer rigs sit longer online. Sellers feel it first as silence, then as price reductions. A R-Vee that costs more every year to register shrinks its buyer pool automatically. Owners who stretched for bigger units feel the squeeze hardest. Fixed incomes do not flex with new fee formulas. Some are downsizing, not because they want to, but because paperwork costs stacked too high. There is also a regional trap. Registration reciprocity is limited. Moving states does not always reset fees. Some owners expected relief after relocating, only to find similar formulas waiting. The cost followed them. Protection starts with awareness. Before buying, check the current registration formula for your state, not last year's, this year's. Ask specifically how length and axles factor in. Run the math forward. 5 years, not 1. Ownership decisions look different when totals are visible. Documentation helps too. Declared value matters. Overstating value can inflate fees unnecessarily. Accuracy protects cash flow. Keep records organized. Mistakes favor the state, not the owner. This rule reshaped the quiet side of ownership. It did not break travel. It changed budgeting. The road feels the same. The renewal notice does not. Those envelopes will keep arriving. The smart move is making sure they never surprise you again. What comes after registration is more subtle, yet far more expensive over time. If this breakdown is saving you money, hit like so more people see it, subscribe for updates before the next rule hits, and share your experience in the comments. What you've seen matters, and it helps others avoid expensive mistakes. Financing structure shifts after new disclosure rules. The paperwork looks clearer than it used to. That is not an accident. January 2026 changed how R-Vee loans are presented, not how expensive they really are. On the surface, buyers see cleaner pages, bigger charts, and friendlier summaries. Underneath, the cost quietly stretches further into the future. The change came from new disclosure rules. Lenders are now required to show total interest paid more prominently. That sounds protective. In theory, transparency should help. In practice, it reshaped how deals are structured inside finance offices. Here is what actually shifted. Monthly payment became the main selling tool again. To keep that number low, loan terms grew longer. 15-year loans quietly became 20-year loans. 20-year loans began creeping toward 25. The interest rate did not always rise. The timeline did. Consider a real example pulled from dealer worksheets circulating late last year. A R-Vee priced at $101,200, financed at 8.9% over 20 years, results in total interest near $94,000. That means the loan nearly doubles the cost of the rig. The disclosure shows it clearly. The structure still gets approved. Why does this work? Because many people shop by payment, not total cost. The disclosure rule did not change that habit. Dealers adapted by rearranging the math. Transparency moved forward. Protection stayed flat. Another adjustment appeared quietly. Some lenders began offering stepped payment schedules. Early payments look manageable. Later payments climb. The disclosure lists it. Few people read past the first page. The obligation still locks in. The real consequence shows up years later. R-Vees depreciate fast. Financing stretches slow. That gap creates long periods of negative equity. Selling early becomes painful. Trading becomes expensive. Refinancing rarely helps because collateral value drops faster than principal. There is also a rate detail worth noting. Dealers often work with multiple lenders. Approved rates can differ. Markups remain legal. The new disclosures do not always reveal the base approval rate, only the final one. That difference becomes profit inside the contract. Paperwork compliance does not equal cost control. That is the lesson of this rule. The system adjusted around the requirement, not away from profit. Timing made this worse. Interest rates stayed elevated entering 2026. Longer terms masked the increase. Buyers focused on access, not outcome. The math stayed unforgiving. The impact ripples outward. Insurance requirements last longer. Maintenance overlaps loan years. Registration and repair costs stack, while equity lags. Ownership feels heavier each season. Protection comes from slowing the conversation down. Ask for total interest in plain language. Compare 15-year and 20-year scenarios side by side. Demand outside financing offers before sitting down. Numbers behave differently when written twice. Another safeguard is term discipline. If the payment only works at 20 years, the R-Vee costs too much. That truth hurts less early than late. Documentation matters here too. Keep full loan schedules, highlight balloon clauses, question payment steps. Silence favors complexity. Slow the process. Ask twice. Compare totals, not promises. Numbers do not lie. People sometimes do. Dealers understand hesitation and often exploit it during rushed financial conversations inside. This rule did not make financing safer. It made it easier to disguise long-term cost. The disclosure fulfilled the letter. The structure preserved the risk. Awareness restores balance. When you understand how terms stretch, pressure fades, decisions slow, leverage returns. Money does not disappear, it just moves through time. Financing decides how long it stays with you. What lies ahead shifts the burden even further, away from paper and into real-world ownership responsibility. Environmental compliance now applies to R-Vee repairs. Fixing things used to be simple. A broken generator meant a replacement. A cracked waste valve meant a Saturday repair. January 2026 quietly changed that reality for R-Vee owners across several states. Environmental compliance rules expanded, and repairs that once stayed private now trigger inspections, paperwork, and penalties. The shift centers on emissions, wastewater, and fuel handling systems. State environmental agencies updated their oversight categories late last year. R-Vee components were reclassified, alongside stationary generators and mobile fuel systems. That single change pulled repairs into a regulated space. Here is how it plays out in real life. A portable generator fails. In the past, an owner swapped it with an equivalent unit. Today, replacement often requires a certified emissions-compliant model, documented installation, and in some cases, inspection verification. Costs jump immediately. Invoices from service centers show generator replacements climbing from $2,000 to over $6,000 once compliance equipment and certified labor are added. The generator still produces electricity. The price difference pays for paperwork and approval. Wastewater systems face similar pressure. Holding tanks, dump valves, and venting systems now fall under expanded environmental standards in several jurisdictions. Repairs that disturb plumbing must meet updated containment rules. Improper fixes can flag registrations during renewal. Owners who handled maintenance themselves feel this shift hardest. Do-it-yourself repairs no longer stay invisible. Inspections after resale, relocation, or registration renewal can uncover non-compliant parts. Fixing it twice costs more than doing it right once. Fuel systems also changed classification. Auxiliary tanks, lines, and connections are now monitored more closely. Replacement components must meet updated safety and emissions guidelines. Certified installers sign off. Receipts matter. Why did this happen? Environmental agencies responded to leakage reports and emissions complaints tied to mobile systems. R-Vees became part of the solution. The intent sounds responsible. The execution lands on owners. Timing amplified the impact. Many R-Vees built during the boom years used cheaper components. Those parts fail sooner. Replacement under new rules costs more. The bill arrives years after purchase. The financial effect compounds quietly. Repairs once budgeted at $500 now approach $3,000. Larger system work reaches $4,000 or more. Insurance rarely helps. Warranties often exclude compliance upgrades. Maintenance math breaks expectations fast. Resale reacts fast. Buyers hesitate when repairs look regulated or undocumented. Listings mention certified systems as selling points. Non-compliant rigs sit longer on the market. Price reductions follow, sometimes repeatedly. Sellers feel pressure each month. Delays erode leverage. What looked manageable becomes costly over time. These changes do not announce themselves loudly. They surface slowly, invoice by invoice, until ownership feels heavier financially. Protection starts with awareness. Before repairs, ask whether the component falls under environmental compliance. Request written estimates that separate labor, parts, and certification. Keep every receipt. Documentation protects future transactions. There is also a timing lever. Some inspections trigger only during registration or transfer. Completing compliant repairs before those moments reduces stress. Waiting invites scrutiny. State notices rarely explain this clearly. Fee schedules change without headlines. Service departments learn first. Independent shops scramble next. Owners find out last. That delay costs money. Planning ahead reduces exposure. Ask shops about certified options early. Compare compliant part prices before failure forces urgency. Spread upgrades across seasons. Avoid stacking costs in 1 month. Environmental oversight is not temporary, it expands. Treat compliance like maintenance, not punishment. Prepared owners stay ahead. Unprepared ones react. Reaction is always more expensive for R-Vee owners. This rule did not remove freedom, it added structure. Ignoring it creates cascading costs. Respecting it preserves control. The road feels unchanged. The rules beneath it are not. Repairs now carry legal weight. One final detail matters. Certified parts often last longer. Quality improves when corners disappear. The upfront cost hurts. Long-term reliability can improve. Understanding that. Balance turns frustration into planning. Compliance becomes a line item, not a surprise. What comes ahead shifts responsibility even further away from sellers and squarely onto owners. If you want to stay ahead of what's changing before it shows up on a bill or contract, subscribe now. These rules keep moving fast, and future updates could protect your wallet before the next enforcement wave quietly arrives nationwide. Warranty responsibility shifted away from dealers. The handshake feels the same. The paperwork looks familiar. The risk changed completely in January 2026. Warranty responsibility for R-Vees quietly shifted away from dealers and settled squarely on the owner's shoulders. Most people do not realize it until something breaks. By then, the leverage is gone. For decades, dealers acted as the buffer. Problems discovered shortly after delivery were negotiated. Repairs were pushed upstream. Goodwill mattered. That culture eroded slowly, then formally. New warranty interpretations clarified dealer obligations, and the clarification favored exit speed over accountability. Here is the practical result. Once a R-Vee leaves the lot, responsibility tightens fast. Defects found days or weeks later face higher proof thresholds. Dealers point to delivery acknowledgments. Manufacturers point to service queues. The owner stands in the middle, holding documentation. The shift applies most sharply to used and lightly used R-Vees. Certified pre-owned language still exists, yet coverage scope narrowed. Items once handled quietly now trigger formal claim processes. Slide alignment, electrical faults, seal failures, and plumbing leaks frequently land outside immediate coverage windows. Repair invoices reveal the cost. Slide system realignment commonly runs $4,000 to $6,000. Electrical diagnostics escalate past $2,000 quickly. Water intrusion repairs climb beyond $10,000 when walls are involved. These numbers appear after purchase, not before. Why did this shift happen? Dealers faced mounting service backlogs. Warranty labor paid less than retail work. Pressure built. New interpretations reduced exposure. Transactions moved faster. Responsibility moved outward. Timing amplified the effect. R-Vees produced during the boom years carry higher defect rates. Assembly speed increased. Quality checks shortened. Those units age into the market right as protections weaken. Owners absorb the overlap. Documentation now decides outcomes. Delivery inspection forms carry weight. Anything signed becomes final. Verbal assurances disappear. The written record rules. Owners who rush paperwork lose options. There is also a legal angle. Some states updated implied warranty interpretations. Others clarified dealer roles as facilitators, not guarantors. The language sounds administrative. The consequence is financial. Resale markets reacted quietly. Buyers ask more questions. Inspection contingencies appear more often. Sellers with recent repair histories disclose defensively. Price negotiations tighten. Protection starts before signing. Independent inspections matter more than ever. Not dealer walkthroughs. Third-party evaluations. Spending $500 up front can prevent five-figure regret later. Time also protects. Avoid buying right before long trips. Latent defects surface with use. Allow a shakedown window. Document issues immediately. Written notice matters. Service delays complicate claims. Appointment wait times stretch months. Problems worsen while paperwork sits. Early reporting preserves timelines. Silence erodes coverage. Another overlooked detail is arbitration language. Many contracts require dispute resolution outside court. Outcomes vary. Costs remain. The emotional weight matters too. Trust breaks when support disappears. Owners feel stranded. That frustration leads to rushed fixes and higher bills. Calm planning avoids that spiral. This rule did not eliminate warranties. It narrowed the funnel. Fewer claims pass through. More responsibility sticks. Dealers still smile. The lot still shines. The back end changed. Understanding this shift restores balance. Ask hard questions. Demand written coverage terms. Photograph everything at delivery. Keep logs. Treat paperwork like insurance. Ownership remains possible. Risk simply moved. Those who recognize it early adjust behavior. Those who assume old norms pay tuition. One final insight matters. Discounts often hide risk transfer. Lower prices offset reduced support. Cheap upfront can cost dearly later. That knowledge reframes deals. Value includes protection. Price alone misleads. The system did not collapse. It recalibrated under pressure and quietly shifted risk. Responsibility followed the signature, not the handshake. Awareness replaces surprise when details are read early. Preparation replaces regret when inspections happen before payment. Control returns when assumptions leave the conversation and numbers take their place. That completes the picture for anyone paying attention. The rules changed without noise. Knowing where they landed, how they moved, and who now carries the burden makes all the difference for long-term ownership decisions, especially in volatile markets like today alone. These changes are already affecting R-Vee owners across the country, and more updates are coming. If this breakdown helped you understand what's changing, tap like so others see it too. Subscribe to stay ahead of new R-Vee rules before they cost you money, and share your experience or questions in the comments below.